We have a special segment for a show that I went to see in NYU Abu Dhabi Art Gallery. The exhibition is called Between the Tides, a Gulf Quinquennial. The exhibition is about 5 years of art in the Gulf.
Between the Tides is the first iteration of what we would like to think of as a series of quinquennials. So exhibitions that happen every 5 years.
As of today, I will be binging Love is Blind Habibi.
It is a dating show, and it is where lots of different men and women are put in rooms, but they're not allowed to see each other. They just speak through a wall.
I'm interested to see what the issues are they will have, because I think that'll be very indicative of the culture as well.
I think we were even looking into the facts and figures of how many people in the region are now listening to Coldplay and thinking like, is there a story here?
Well, they've released a new album, so there has been some pretty big Coldplay news this week. They've released a new album, and they have also announced, they are retiring.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Culture Bites. Today, we're going to be speaking about the NYU Art Exhibition, which has just hit town.
We are going to be chatting about the release of a highly anticipated new series of Love is Blind Habibi.
And the latest from Eliana and Coldplay.
This is Culture Bites coming to you from Abu Dhabi. I'm Ines Rafai.
I'm Farah Andrews.
And I'm Maan Jalal.
Hi.
Fellow award-winning, nominated.
Cut.
Hey, we have to
Start
manifest.
Again. We're going to manifest
We have to manifest
this.
it.
So we want to tell you all, this is a really special moment for us because we started this little tiny podcast a year ago. And as you all know, we've celebrated a year and it's been amazing. And we can't believe we've even come this far. And then we got news that we've all been nominated as co-hosts for an amazing podcast award called Signal. And I know this is like personally amazing for us because, personally we're doing so well as co-hosts. But I think it's a real show that people are taking interest in arts and culture from another part of the world. This is a big award in New York. So
yeah, it's fantastic. It's a real lift, right?
It's a real treat. And it's also nice that it's the category, which is best co-hosts. And that it just shows that, we have great conversations, we have great chemistry, and we're also delivering important things to the world. So it's a nice lift, like you say.
Yeah, super exciting. Am I right? There's like 8 podcasts in a category, and it's audience nominated. So that brings us to you.
The big ask. Hit it, Farah. Go for it.
We would like you all to nominate us. If you listen to this podcast, if you enjoyed this podcast, please just take a couple of minutes. Seconds to head on over to the link, which is going to be in our show notes, or go find us on the Signal Awards. There are so many categories, so maybe just following a direct link is the best thing to do. And please nominate us for the best co-host team, because we're up against some names.
Yeah, some pretty big names.
We aren't going to speak about their names.
No, they don't matter to me. No, they really don't.
But we're up. We're carrying our weight at the moment. It shows you how you're getting on after you've nominated.
I haven't actually looked for a couple of days because I had a massive drive where absolutely everybody in my WhatsApp received a message just being
same.
Little me has been nominated for an award, please vote.
I've spammed quite a lot of people as well.
Yeah, all my aunts were so kind. They were just like, of course we're going to vote for you. And my cousins were like, why should we vote for you?
Generational difference.
My friends were like, these other people look great. I was like, ignore them. They don't exist. Only us.
But again, I really do think, I know when we did this podcast and we were speaking about it just so recently, why we decided to do this. But having this huge New York show, I've worked in radio for a really long time. Lots of people rave about the Signal Awards, and just to be recognized is huge. So pats on backs.
Yes.
Pats on backs.
But it's not only us that is nominated at the National. No. Let us give a pat on back to our fellow podcast at the National. Over to you.
Beyond the Headlines. So Beyond the Headlines has been nominated for an award, and it's a really powerful episode. So even if you're fans of our show, but you want to see maybe what other things we make, this episode in particular dealt with Palestinian prisoners who had been kept in Israeli prisons. It's a really powerful, quite difficult listen, but well worth it. And it just gives me goosebumps thinking about it. And again, this has been nominated for an award for an episode. So a bit different, but a really good show. So please nominate as well, and vote for Beyond the Headlines.
So that's in the news and politics category.
News and politics
for
category,
episodes.
Yeah. And it also just shows also congratulations to the national, because it shows like how diverse our stories are, our podcasts are, our coverages. So, you know, seeing the two different shows that have been nominated, you can also see the different kind of stories we have.
And I think, again, it's just really important that people are starting to recognize voices from this region, talking about things that are happening in this region.
From people in this region who are based here.
100%.
Yeah, makes a big
So
difference.
expect us to chat about this for the next couple of weeks, give you a little reminder saying, hey, have you taken a look on those nominate us today? Because the awards are at the end of October. So we've got a few weeks.
Yes. So we'll be putting links hopefully attached to this show, wherever you're listening, watching this show. And also all of our Instagram pages will be heavily promoting that link too.
But let's talk about what it is that's got us nominated. Art, culture.
Arts and culture. Why we're here gathered. So I want to talk to you guys very quickly about, we have a special segment that we're going to switch over to now for a show that I went to see in New York, in NYU Abu Dhabi Art Gallery.
You'll say, what?
Yeah, in New York. I just flew for a few days and came back. So the exhibition is called Between the Tides, a Gulf Quinquennial. Have you ever heard that word before?
I like it. I'm going to use it.
Yes. Do you know what it means? I'll just say quickly. So it's 5. So it's 5 years.
Oh.
So you have twins, triplets, quadruplets, and then quinquennials.
Quinquennials.
So yeah, the exhibition is about 5 years of art in the Gulf. So over to our section. I am in NYU Abu Dhabi Art Gallery, where they've just opened a brilliant show called Between the Tides, a Gulf Quinquennial, where we have 21 different projects by artists and collectives from across the GCC. So Saudi, Qatar, Oman, Bahrain, the UAE. And the works are from all different mediums. And I'm so excited to speak to 2 artists and the co-curators. So come with me and we'll check out some really cool art. I am here with one of the co-curators, Duygu Dimer. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Can you tell us about this exhibition? What is Between the Tides about?
Between the Tides is the first iteration of what we would like to think of as a series of quinquennials, so exhibitions that happen every 5 years. And it looks at the GCC countries and the visual and artistic production in those countries from the past 5 years. So Between the Tides is the first iteration, and it looks at the last 5 years, so work made between 2019 and 2024.
And there are 21 artists.
There are
the show.
21 projects that we're showing. Some of them are made by collectives or group of artists or group of architects. So yes, it's a crowded group show.
And it's a very diverse show in terms of the mediums, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So we have photography, we have architectural projects, we have research-based practices, as well as sound and light installation, lots of video works.
So it's a real experience coming in here. You're not going to get one thing. You're going to get different voices, different styles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have painting and sculpture as well.
Yes. More traditional, I guess.
Exactly.
Do you want to tell us a bit about this beautiful work behind us by Afra Al-Tahiri, who's one of my favorite artists in the region? So can you tell us about this really quite stunning sculpture, which includes the light changing?
Yes, I'm happy to. Afra first made this work in collaboration with a sound designer and a light designer that she met when she was in residency in New York with Bob Wilson. And there she kind of opened up her practice to other disciplines, which I find very generous and brave. And what they did was to basically work with this structure, which is a grid. It holds the cotton ropes that Afra quite often uses in her work, which relates both to marine practices, but also, I think, to her work with hair and the curls. What they did was construct this piece in Afra's studio in Musaffa, and they activated it for 3 days, for 3 hours each day, where Dario and Christy, her collaborators, were performing live, basically mixing sound and light in response to each other. And what we're showing now is kind of an archive of that work. And because it was such a short-term project, lots of people didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
So we are really happy to represent it so that more people can experience it. It's supposed to be a very meditative experience where you pay attention to the subtle shifts in light and color and shadow. We are calling it a performance without performers.
That's
And
cool.
I think the way in which it works as an archive is that they used the recordings they made from those 3 performances they had last year, and then basically remixed it and made it into an 8-hour sound and light piece. And you can spend as little or as long time as you want in it. And over the course of the exhibition, we're going to have Dario and Christy come back to do a live performance to activate it further.
What I've always loved about her work is how she plays with soft and geometric shapes. So the ropes in these sort of squares and geometric, what is it? It's steel, isn't it? Yeah, steel. I think just even from that perspective, I love like looking at her work. And then with the lights underneath, how it plays off that is also really interesting. So it's a must-see from the exhibition. So I'm now with the co-curator of the exhibition, Maya Allison. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
So this is an incredible show. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, why was it important to have this show now and have these artists exhibiting now?
So one of the exciting things for the UAE has been this commitment over the last 15 years to arts and culture at a whole new level, as we see with the museums that are being built and opened, and really incredible investment also in the educational infrastructure for artists. So we have our MFA program here. We have the Salama Foundation does their fellowships to prepare students for graduate school in the arts, Tashkil Foundation, and all along the Emirates Fine Arts Society and Sharjah have been really important supporters of the development of arts. Meanwhile, Saudi, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, all have also been doing this in different ways. And there's been this kind of blossoming, I would say, in the last 5 years, where now we have the Diraya Biennial, we have the Islamic Biennial, we have Mataf is becoming very mature as a museum. It just did a major survey of Sophia Al Maria. Kuwait has the new, this sort of studio center that's really supporting a lot of artists, and Oman is getting more and more rich in its artistic practice. So I think it feels like there's a ripening in terms of our audience and in terms of a new generation of artists. But on top of that, the existing and previous generations are all still very active and worthy of further visibility. So this actually is not only for emerging artists, it really is for the many layers of artistic activity that have been going on all along.
So this is a great exhibition for someone to come and really get a taste of what you're talking about, this ripening of artists across the GCC. Yeah.
And just to be clear, the artists have always been making the work. What's ripening is our ability to see the work in different venues and more spaces and more access to the art that's happening, thanks to the investment of many of our partners and collaborators who've supported the artists, but also supported the spaces like this one to do such a thing.
And can you tell us about this stunning painting behind us?
I would love to.
It's beautiful, by a Saudi female artist. Can you tell us a bit about her and this work?
So the painting behind us is by Alia Ahmed, and she is based in Riyadh. And she is, we first saw her work at the Diraya Biennial. So again, this is an example of how important these venues are to visibility for the artists. And we were really struck by the dramatic scale that she's working at. As you can see, it goes all the way around these walls. And what you're looking at appears to be a landscape painting, right? This might be a river or a road. Those might be mountains. This feels almost like
a valley,
an urban center maybe. What she's done is she's taken the banknotes, meaning the money of Saudi, which has images of Saudi landscapes on it. and she's made a painting of those landscapes. So she's actually working from the Saudi currency for these images.
That's
So you're
interesting because
looking
they're
at
miniature and she's actually
she's made it massive.
them. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah, and it's one of the things she's really interested in is the passage of time and how to render that in a painting. So you'll see a shift in the color from what could be daytime into what might be nighttime, but also just the act of looking at the painting requires you to move through time and space to see the whole thing.
I even thought seasonally, maybe she was doing something with the seasons as well. It's really, you know, that what we're videoing now doesn't do the work justice. I definitely recommend you
have
come
to
and
see
see.
it
You
in
have to see it.
person.
We are now with Mariam Al Nuaimi, who is a Bahraini artist who's exhibiting in the show. Hi, Mariam.
Hi, أهلا.
Hi, شلونك?
الحمد لله
Good.
بخير.
I want you to tell us about your work because when people come to the exhibition, they're not going to see your work in the space. You're actually offering a more experience in terms of your work. So can you tell us a bit about your practice?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, my practice is really looking at our relationship to the land and the environment around us, and also all the layers that play a role in shaping this relationship and reality, whether it's politics, economy, culture, history, and so on. In several projects, I've been looking at walking as a practice and as a platform of knowledge production as well. So when we walk in a place, it's also a way of knowing that space, that land, the ecology that exists there, the community as well. And it's looking at it also as a way of alternative knowledge sharing. And whenever we don't have this access to walkability or walking, I see it as a form of censorship as well. So it's like censoring this knowledge that could have been passed and experienced through being in the land and the space.
So you'll be walking, sort of almost discovering the work as you're walking in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, so basically I've done a series of walks in Bahrain, and I'm excited to be here to work on developing this project with the curators at NYU Abu Dhabi's gallery. So I've been looking at the place, visiting different areas, meeting and researching with meeting different people and researching that.
And then basically people who come to the show can actually sign up. They can write their email down and sign up to go on one of your walks where you will basically discover the work, and you'll be not educating them, but telling them about your discoveries, right?
Yeah, I see art as this platform that gives us the space and time to contemplate things around us. And I feel like walking does that also very well.
Yeah. So how does it feel to be part of an exhibition of this nature where you're alongside 20 other artists from the GCC? How does it feel to be part of this kind of group?
It's amazing. I'm grateful for that. And I feel like it brings a very important conversation to our histories, but also realities that we are living in different places within the Gulf. So I feel like it's definitely an important exhibition that sheds the light on different topics and issues in the Gulf region.
Cool. So I'm with Faisal Al-Malak. He is an amazing Palestinian artist based between London and Dubai. And we are in his corner of the gallery. It is a whole space, and it's, as you can see from the mural, it's painted yellow. It's probably one of the more brighter works here. But you also have a multitude of works. You have a painting, you have a sculpture, you have a video work, correct?
Yes.
So,
and a beanbag.
And a beanbag as well. So hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Maan. Thank you for having me.
So tell us, what is the themes that are running through the different works, the mediums of work that you have in your space here?
Right. So I have an assisted meditation healing practice, which I combine with my art practice. So I use images from visualizations, meditations, and this particular work started with a dream that I wanted to unpack, and
which is illustrated in this painting behind us.
Which is illustrated in this painting. My practice also involves singing and performance. So when I painted this work, I wanted to embody the green lizard and the red lizard, which appeared in the dream.
Yes.
which yes.
You know, I was going to say, yeah, it appeared in your dream. I was just going to agree. Yeah.
Which appeared in the dream. And this is what's happening in the video.
Yeah.
So I explore themes of folk, of tradition. So this features a Palestinian folk song called Zarifatul, which speaks of home and displacement, and also a couple of other songs from Egypt in the 50s that also speaks of longing and sadness and loss of a lover.
And so when you talk about folk as well, is this why you chose to, with the frame, to have this, what did you call it, tufted? No.
A tufting.
Yeah,
yes.
tufting. It's a carpet frame tufted.
Yes.
Is this some kind of technique or something that you took from, because I know that in the past you've worked with a lot of fabric and in your other work.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I have a background in fashion design,
Yes.
so textile is present in my work no matter what. For me, also, the idea of working with something that's quite designed and quite ornamental, which is close to my culture and to the regional culture in general, is something quite important for me, especially in so all of this work was part of my degree show at Goldsmiths, where I studied an MFA in Fine Arts, supported by the Tashkil Scholarship Fund in Dubai. And within that context, there is a real emphasis on the ideas rather than the aesthetic, and in a Western context as well in general, the aesthetic is or the motif, the ornamental, is seen as a bit primitive, and I wanted to really embrace that and really take ownership of the ornament.
Yes, and what's really cool is when you come see Faisal's work, you see that contrast, or not contrast, that play in a lot of the different works, and particularly in this painting, which I love, by the way, is the contrast between the way you've painted the figures and also the frame, the fact that it's it's a carpet technique, you called it?
Yes.
And how, so the contrast between the two and like the ornamental, the decorative, and this kind of more modern gestural brushstroke, I think it's really, really interesting and definitely worth seeing in person. I wanted to ask you, how does it feel to be part of this exhibition with 20 other artists from the GCC? And it's very diverse. We have artists who are regional, artists who have lived and grown up here their whole lives, but are from somewhere else. So how does it feel to be part of this collective?
It's interesting because it really speaks to the themes of the work, which speak of Palestinian identity and Palestinian displacement. And as someone who grew up in the Gulf, I grew up in Qatar, and I also have been living in Dubai for the past 10 years. It's such an honor to be part of this and to have a sense of grounding and to have a context for my work in the region.
We really do need to get out and about more. That was a really insightful segment. Thanks, man.
No worries. Happy to do it again.
Now we're going to move over to something maybe not so highbrow.
And less out and about, more in and in.
Yeah.
My living room.
In and within.
As of today, I will be binging Love is Blind Habibi.
Yeah.
So,
Very exciting.
This is big. We have had Love is Blind, the OG US.
And then
We've
UK.
had Love is Blind UK. I believe definitely had Love is Blind Sweden. I think there's been Love is Blind Japan. It is global. It's coming to our shores. Love is Blind Habibi.
Region.
First of all, I love the name.
Great.
I think it was filmed in Dubai.
Oh,
yes,
really?
I think it was, yeah.
Oh, great.
Have you seen the trailer?
I have seen the trailer, yeah. I think, let's first of all, I suppose we need to map out what this show is about. It is a dating show, and it is where lots of different men and women are put in rooms, but they're not allowed to see each other. They just speak through a wall.
Yeah,
and they fall in love. Well, they're meant to be falling in love with the soul, not the visage.
The whole thing, because I am a devotee of the American series, and I very much enjoyed dipping my toe into the British series. So the whole thing is, can you fall in love with someone sight unseen?
So
The age-old question.
Love blind?
Is
Is
love
love
blind?
blind?
Could love be blind?
And so in the in the format, we have 20 men, 20 women. There's like there's girls camp, boys camp. I found out watching interviews with the British cast, in my head it was like the Big Brother house, and they all live together. They don't. They're all in a hotel, and they just hang out in that living room together during the day. So they aren't as all up in each other's lives as I thought they were, which is disappointing, but fine. I accept that we don't all live a Big Brother life, because I would also want to like see that.
Exactly, same, yeah.
But they live in hotels, but they spend all this time together, and they sit in pods to go on dates, chat to each other. They kind of, in like the international format, they're kind of like, they have these like early dates where it's like these kind of like cute questions. They'll have their notebooks.
Yes,
and they're
they're
like,
all writing things
who
down.
am I talking to? Am I talking to Maan? They're like, yeah, you're talking to Maan. Who's the voice on the other side of the window? The foggy glass. And then there's the proposals when they all start to fall in love with each other. They propose.
And they
It's
without
always so
telling each
awkward
other.
because you're proposing to a screen to someone that
Well,
you've never
yeah.
seen.
And then it's like
fuzzy glass.
you have, typically it's the man proposing to the woman, so that you have the guy being like, I'm down on one knee, and the girl's
Just
like,
so you know.
and he's like, are you at the window? And he's like, awkward questions. It's like, can you feel my hand? It's like, no, of course we can't feel your hand.
I think the most exciting part for me after that is the reveal, because you have them see each other. And that's when you really have to zone in and focus on their expressions, for the micro expressions,
Body
to
language.
see, are they excited? This is the person they were envisioning this whole time, or is this not the person they were
Because some
envisioning?
people take it very seriously. Some people are like, they won't talk about physical traits at all.
Even race. They won't even talk about if they're half
And
this,
they
half
won't,
that.
there's been some people that have kind of used, they've thought that their name gave like a real indication of their race or what they might look like. So they've given kind of more generalized versions of their name, which I think is a shame, because that's not your real self and you don't feel like you can share that. But there have been situations where like guys have kind of asked, how tall are you? And do you remember in the American one, the guy who asked
how much they weighed
and if he could carry her on? He's like, do you think I'd be able to carry you on my shoulders? And that caused quite a stir.
Yeah.
As it should.
Or for example,
But
like
you're meant to be here because you want love to be blind.
Yes,
so why does
exactly.
it, like, what?
yeah, that is true.
or sometimes when they ask like, or where the guy was like, oh yeah, I used to play football, to give the impression that like he's like a jock or something like that. But used to is a very relative relative
like
term.
Hey, I used to do a lot of
Yeah,
things.
me too.
The socioeconomic background of people as well also comes into question, because people are like, well, I do this for a living.
Yes.
And then people are like, oh, okay, so you have money. And is that normal?
There's a new series of the, I know we're meant to be focusing on the Love is Blind Habibi, but we haven't actually watched it yet. But I've seen the American show. There's a lot of conversation at the moment about, I've got this completely from memes, that there's one guy that clearly just wants everyone to know he's rich.
Leo.
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
Leo.
I've seen
these
it
memes.
up to now. Yeah, he's a piece of work. So
I thought you were going to say something else there.
Whoa. Yeah. Like he's the person you don't want to be matched up with, like red flags everywhere.
But he's the one that we know now.
Yeah,
We'll
he's the one that we know
go
now.
through until like the end.
Well, this was a really interesting point, because when I watched the first season of the American one, it was really lovely. Like I think two couples ended up together. But then after that, and the show got very popular. But then after that, you started to notice more of the people who were applying for this were just interested to be on TV.
Yeah,
interested to be famous, as opposed to people who were genuinely trying to find love. So I'm excited to see that Love is Blind Habibi, because not to say that, in this region, people are not interested in being famous, but more that the format of sort of meeting somebody or marrying or meeting somebody with the intention of marriage from the get-go is a very more of a Eastern Global South thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the concept is already not foreign to a lot of Arab people. So they're going in there saying, sure, I'll do it. They're not really, they're less
100%.
likely to be interested to be just famous on TV.
I mean, this is how my Teta imagined I would get married. So,
So wait, that's it's a good kind of conversation point, because obviously that there is that kind of cultural context that we have here for the series. But then a big format point of this show is that before people get married, they go on holiday together and then they live together for 6 weeks. That's the roadmap of the show.
Of the show, yeah.
So I'm interested to see, is that how this is going to map out on Love is Blind Habibi? So we'll see if they kind of follow that same trajectory on the show, if it changes a little bit, if they just kind of go out on dates together rather than living together before they get married.
My guess is, if they are, they might have a civil union or something, or a religious ceremony if they're Muslim, like we say ketb iktab in Arabic, meaning you're religiously married, meaning you can live together or you can travel together, but you're not legally married.
Like you think that might happen like
So
right
I
at the
think
offset?
maybe once they see each other, and I think when he proposes, it kind of means like, will you marry me in that religious? This is what I'm assuming. I have no idea. I haven't seen the show yet.
I'm really
But that would make sense.
I'm really excited for this kind of like to expose as well the diversity of our region.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that we've got like 20 different cast members from lots of different places. And then thinking about that as well, like, the religious diversity, are they going to incorporate some of that? Are they going to incorporate the traditional diversity when it comes to the wedding ceremony?
Exactly.
Like we are a really diverse place, and how are they going to make it
Oh
work?
my goodness, I hadn't even thought about that. This show ends with weddings.
Exactly.
The big
Yeah.
Arabic weddings at the end are going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I know. Is it going to have like a Syrian kind of Debka style drum beat, or is it going to be more of I don't know, like a Sudanese or a Saudi? Even a Moroccan throne might be carried through. I don't know.
Or an Iraqi one. But you know what I'm interested in as well? I'm interested to see what the issues are they will have, because I think that'll be very indicative of the culture as well. Like I know in the UK one, I noticed that there was a lot of there was one woman who was British Moroccan, and the guy that she was getting to know was British, and there was a lot of like her issues with her culture and him like accepting parts of her culture, I think. So I'm interested to see like what are the issues or challenges? Are they financial? Are they about families mixing? Is it about, I don't want to work, but you have to work? Or I'm interested to see what these challenges are in this region, how they differ from what we've seen in the UK and the US.
I have a question. For listeners that aren't from the region, do you want to tell them what Habibi means?
Oh, yes. My love.
My love.
It's in a term of endearment, but you can say it to your friend, Habibti to a woman, Habibi to a man. But you can use it,
To tell someone to come to Dubai.
Yes, Habibi, come to Dubai, Habibi.
Come
to Dubai, Habibi.
We're full, there's too much.
Yeah, traffic, please. But I'm excited to see. Also, what I love about it, what I think will be great, is like Dubai Bling. It's going to have that mixture of English and Arabic talking, which I think I'm always excited to see on a show.
Just anything that brings the region into this like more playful light, I think is really strong, especially in the current climate.
And I do think that like that's like something Netflix does pretty well. Like they've shown that language is completely no barrier when there's just strong content, and people will watch things with subtitles. And so we're going to see some really nice stories being played out. And that's like hopefully some nice love stories.
Yeah.
Because I love a love story.
I love a love story too.
Oh,
It's my genre.
Habibis.
Rom-coms. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on now to no, that was unsound. That was really formal.
I've got a joke to make.
You make the joke.
It's time now for our regular Coldplay segment. This is going to happen until January. We're going to have a weekly Coldplay segment.
I mean, it's all anyone's talking about.
It is literally.
Still. I think we were even looking into the facts and figures of how many people in the region are now listening to Coldplay and thinking like, is there a story here?
It's like, well, what is the percentage of UAE population that has got Coldplay tickets?
Can I ask a question as a completely, you know me, non-music, contemporary music Coldplay person? What is the album to listen to? Because you said there's 12, no, 11, 10 albums?
They've just released their 10th.
Okay.
So why don't you start with that? Moon Music. They released
the
that
new
last
music.
week.
Okay.
I personally have not listened to the whole thing. I've listened to a few songs.
Of the new album?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's the album that everyone kind of loves. It's the Milo Exile.
Yeah.
Is that the yellow?
Parachutes
That's the one
as well?
with that's got Fix You on, I believe.
Oh. That's from...
Yeah, you're right.
And that is where I'm not. I think I've said this already. I'm not the biggest fan. I saw them at Glastonbury because I felt like I should. And they were very, very good live.
I don't know if this is like a bad thing to say, but I think of them as Grey's Anatomy music.
I think they're a musical equivalent of Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, okay. So I'm on the right path.
Do you like that, or do you just like
I
that?
just don't like them. I think I hold a special place in my heart for them because they really remind me of a very dear person to me and as at the time. And I think that a lot of people kind of associate a lot of Coldplay music with like a specific time in their lives.
Yeah.
There are lots of memories,
you know, and memories wrapped into it.
Yeah.
So I think I really tried to get tickets. I was one of those thousands, as we all know, who tried to get tickets and failed. So now I don't really care about them.
You're like, done, over. What? They're coming?
Who? What? Oh, whatever.
But you are going to the other guys. in Scotland.
Oasis.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a
Yes.
musical win this year, so it's okay.
Yeah, I don't feel like we compare those two though.
Okay.
I can imagine
Very
like
different.
I can imagine like
I think that would upset the
Liam
Gallaghers.
Gallagher. The Gallaghers might punch me. So
I should just caveat my previous statement with I'm a pretty dedicated Grey's Anatomy watcher. So
Yeah, I don't mean it as an insult. I just know some people don't like Grey's
I
Anatomy.
spent
I'm like, yeah.
many hours with Meredith Grey.
I'm so happy for you.
But they do definitely soundtrack it. Kind of like Snow Patrol, right?
Yes.
But this week, we aren't just here to talk about, well, they've released a new album. So there has been some pretty big Coldplay news this week. They've released a new album and they have also announced, they are retiring. But not yet. They're retiring in 2 albums' time. So we've still got probably 30 plus songs left to come.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 more tours. Who knows? This could go on until
that's a couple of years.
35.
Well, they basically this is their 10th album, and they're saying they want to retire at 12. I thought it was a really odd, like why that number?
They're contractually, that's what they've got a contract for.
Oh, so the record label is saying you have to make 12
more,
albums.
I think it's more that they aren't going to seek a new record deal. according to- and they've said that they've kind of done, enough is enough. They've done what they needed to do. They've done a lot. They've still got the fine 2 albums left within them. And then off they go. They're all richer than our wildest dreams, right? So they don't need for anything.
No. Maybe artistically they don't have anything else to really
I'm sure they'll each kind of
do something
pursue
separately.
different creative endeavors, right?
I liked it when Damien from Blur started up Gorillaz and things like that. Like you can do kind of wildly different things, right?
Yeah,
When
for
you've been
sure.
quite successful.
And Alex James from Blur went in the cheese industry, which is one of my favorite post-rock endeavors.
Alternative.
I was a
career.
rock star. Now I'm
A cheese
cheesemonger.
guy. Yeah.
Hey, I'd love to be a cheesemonger. I've tried his
you?
cheese.
Would that be your if you were to step away from journalism?
I'd become a cheesemonger. No, I don't
No.
think so.
I think
I
you'd
would
be you'd have Christmas trees that you would, a farm of Christmas trees.
Oh,
That's what I'd love. I would actually like to
Really?
have I would like a florist, but you've both seen how much I'm sneezing today, so that'd be tricky for me. We're going to get sidetracked. But I'd like to do something kind of creative like that.
well, that would be nice. Anyway, we're definitely going
Been
off topic
sidetracked.
here.
Tangent.
But we
So,
wanted to talk about Eliana, right?
Eliana, tell everybody who she is.
Guys, we've told you about
Yeah.
Eliana.
If you don't know who she is, where have you been living?
She's a Palestinian-Chilean singer who has performed with Coldplay quite a few times. She was performed with them at Glastonbury. She's going to be supporting them for their 4 nights here in Abu Dhabi. That was a real surprise to Maan yesterday on The Cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was like, maybe she'll be doing a surprise appearance.
I have an idea.
I'm going to email Coldplay.
And all the
Someone
producers
tell
just
Chris
rolled their
Martin.
eyes. They were like, man, she's announced it.
So they were on SNL over the weekend promoting Moon Music, obviously. And she joined them for a performance of their new song, We Pray.
It's a really beautiful track.
And just in
Have you
ca-
watched the performance?
I haven't watched the full performance, only seen bits of it. I'm a busy woman.
You are a busy woman. I recommend watching the whole thing. The only thing that upset me about it was the fact that Chris Martin was barefoot. But hey, we can't all be.
I would be
we can't
equally
all get what
upset
we
about
want.
that. Yeah.
He's an
Eliana.
artiste.
He is an artiste. He was a bit,
It's a bit forced and gross.
Joss Stone, 2006. wasn't
Yes.
Oh, she's not
Barefoot.
impressed.
Just I was going to say, in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know her, I would also recommend seeing her performance on the Steve Colbert show. That was, I think, the first time they've ever had a Palestinian artist perform music. And she was really great on there. And it was a really lovely performance. So if you haven't seen her, then you should definitely check that out.
I think the timing's pretty powerful for her performance. It was over the weekend. It was just, obviously, we've had October the 7th at the beginning of this week. It was just the day before, 2 days before. And so they had a Palestinian singer on SNL just kind of showing that, whether that was a Coldplay-driven decision or a producer-driven decision, she was there. She was on television for so long. We haven't seen that many Palestinian artists on American television. And
Biggest show, one of the biggest shows.
Yeah.
I'd say probably the biggest show, right?
Yeah.
In terms of having somebody's name being spoken by everybody over the course of one weekend, she was there. She performed with Coldplay.
Yeah.
She wasn't, as far as I know, interviewed, but she kind of had that stage this weekend just gone, and that's really significant.
It is. SNL is huge in America. I mean, maybe we get bits of it here, but as a like cultural show that everybody watches, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and it really does set the tone for how people are feeling, right? Especially like more left-wing Americans.
Yeah, for sure.
Fascinating. And the album has already become one of the fastest selling albums, and she's on it,
Ah, that is good.
which is great news for her and for Coldplay. The new album is called Moon Music. So yeah, check it out. And then maybe they'll perform some of the big tracks when they come over here, which I won't be seeing. Thanks.
Well, you might. You have to remain positive.
They might say another date.
We've spoken about resale.
Oh, they might actually hear this. Hi. If you have a ticket.
Like, Inas has been very consistently polite about you, Chris
Yeah,
Martin.
really polite.
She did not say a single thing
As
about your feet.
award-nominated podcasters, we would very much appreciate an extra ticket or two for Inas.
I want to see Eliana.
Yeah.
Anyway, that'd be great. So we move on to recommendations for the week.
Yes. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
I'll go first. Over the weekend, I took my daughters to go and see the Andy Warhol exhibition, which you spoke about previously on one of the other episodes. It's at the Foundry on the Boulevard, like right by the big Burj Khalifa. We very rarely go to Dubai because I'm an Abu Dhabi family, as you know. The girls adored it. It took us a couple of hours to get round the whole exhibition because there literally was so much, and it was quite interactive for children. There was a lovely gentleman who gave a little tour and spoke about all the different pieces of art, but also the different moments of Andy Warhol's life and how they all kind of like, bring together this kind of vision that we now have of pop art and how influential that is. And he was. Really enjoyed it. Really recommend going and seeing it. And it's not on for very much longer. It ends at the end of this month. So if you haven't been, go and see it soon, because it's the biggest exhibition for Warhol in the region, or that's ever been, in fact.
And also you think it's good for kids?
I think it's great for kids. And I wasn't the only parent there. There were lots of parents and lots of children. I think that's the beauty about pop art, is it's so accessible. So when we were looking at things like the Campbell's soup and the repetition, I was like, asking, I always do this thing when I go to a gallery. I asked my girls, like, which is their favorite piece? And they went to these kind of like repetitive Campbell's soup pieces. And I was like, do you know why he repeated the pattern? And they were like, why? I was like, because supermarkets repeat this artwork on their shelves. So it was a way of representing this commercialization of art that we see all the time, but like putting it into this fine art space. And then little minds were blown away. So it's really nice to go and like have those conversation starters with younger people. So if you don't have any children, just borrow some. You can take them. Just either borrow some or just go by yourself. I mean, there were lots of people there without children. You probably get to see more of it.
It doesn't just have to be with kids. It's definitely, I've told a lot of my friends, it's like definitely worth going for the afternoon and enjoying for some good pop art. I knew his most famous pieces are there. And I mean, that's the good thing about him, because he was so commercially minded. He really did produce.
Yeah, prolific.
There isn't just like the one version of each piece. So we do, there's a couple of Marilyns in there.
Yeah.
There's
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. What I really liked about the exhibition, this is probably a bit of a like journalist nerd moment, is that finding out that he was a co-founder of Interview magazine, and that there were all the interview covers, and I just thought they were so beautiful.
So cool. The Grace Jones one.
Yes, oh my God.
My favorite.
Madonna's one.
Absolutely stunning.
Since you said something you like about it, I'll just say something very quickly that I loved about it, is I actually loved seeing his really early works. That they had some drawings of earrings and a ring and a shoe. I like that because we're so used to seeing Andy Warhol's work as like so finely done, looks like he's into being a machine and there's no marks of the artist. But in those early works, you see his signature, you see his fingerprint, you see like an ink smudge. I'm like, oh, he was like a real person, especially seeing his signature and seeing how he wrote. I love that because again, we're used to seeing everything being so done, so like fine-tuned,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nicely laid out as a chronology of the artist. It's fun.
Okay. Over to your recommendation, Farah.
Me? I, this week, would like to recommend a film, Blink Twice. Have either of you watched it?
No.
I really want to see this film.
Blink Twice if you watched it.
Is it a thriller? It's giving thriller.
It's tense.
Yeah.
It's a psychological...
Don't give away too much, please.
I'm not going to give away anything. It's basically, it's about billionaire played by Channing Tatum who hosts like big party weekends on his island.
I would do that.
Yeah, same. If I had
No, I would be
cash money for an
recluse.
island, you see me like once a year to come to my island, but I wouldn't operate like Channing Tatum's character.
Okay.
It's extremely, so this film has been written, like co-written by Zoe Kravitz and then directed by her. She's not in the film, but her boyfriend, Channing Tatum, is. And then it's got a really good cast, including Haley Joel Osment, who's the Sixth Sense guy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then Christian Slater, Alia Shawkat from Arrested Development.
Love her.
So the cast is really good. And then somebody who was new to me, Naomi Aki, she plays the main character, Frida. It's visually, it's a feast. Like it's filmed in Mexico, set on a fictional island. The colors are so rich, like it's Mexico, so it's like deep reds, beautiful greens, everything's just so lush.
And she directed Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so interesting. I wasn't aware that she directed it.
And it's tense. Like the film, it's not scary, don't worry, but there are some jump moments. There are some slightly violent, no, not slightly, there are some violent moments, but it's watchable. Would I watch it again? Maybe just so I can go back, because there's a twist. So it's like, do I go back and kind of see what I missed? Do I want to watch it again? No. I feel like I've done it. But it's fantastic.
Okay.
Is it on Netflix or
No? We
Cinema.
watched it on Apple TV, but I think it's
so
still
it's
in the
streaming.
cinema.
Is what I mean. It's
You
available on streaming.
can legally get it on Apple TV
Okay.
here.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay.
And yourself, sir?
So mine is called Twilight of the Gods. It's a show. It's on Netflix. It's animated. You know, I'm into my animated films. And I was going in there thinking it's going to be like a lovely, sweet, family friendly. No, it's very adult only animated series. It's about it's the Norse gods. So Odin and Thor.
I love those stories.
Yes. And it's a reimagining of one of those stories, but based on a young woman whose family is murdered by Thor, and she seeks revenge from the gods. It's not Mount Olympus; it's something else called for the Norse gods. And her, gathering all these like people to go and fight them. But it's very heavy in the sense of the themes. So there's like a lot of revenge, a lot of like affair. It's like Game of Thrones but animated. So I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be very like Pixar, Disney friendly. So yeah, it's very heavy, but it's really beautifully animated. And the story is, I love all of those mythologies, whether they're the Greek mythologies or the Norse mythologies. So it's definitely worth watching, but just, a lot of violence for an animated film. Lots of battle scenes, lots of blood, lots of guts. But that's my recommendation.
Did you say it's on Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix. So yeah.
Nice. Those are some good recommendations.
Very diverse.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening.
And if you liked this episode, please follow and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app.
And don't forget to tell your friends and family, and don't forget to vote.
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 Bye.
Bye.